I would say no, but I don't even have. It'll be improved. Yeah, see you later. Did you text those people? Yeah. Cool, thank you.
All right.
Okay, well, I suppose that means that it's time for us to begin.
It's
What
a
up?
start.
What up? Yo, we're in here in this studio right here. We in the studio.
The official studio.
The official studio of the Wasted Potential podcast. Yes, gaze upon it and its beauty. It is beautiful.
It is glorious.
All right, so we here with the loud as fuck William Hammond.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
Hammond?
And yes.
Hammond.
Hammond.
More
Descendant from El Hamon.
Hammond. Hammond would be a wonderful name.
My first name in Spanish apparently translates to Guillermo, which I'm a big fan of. That's apparently
William and Guillermo?
William is apparently Guillermo means William in Spanish.
That's all it means?
I don't know if it means anything more than that, but that's what I've told my name would be.
Guillermo del Toro is just William del Toro.
William of the Toros.
William of what is it? El Toro? Is that a shitty tequila?
It probably is.
Is that the one?
It sounds like it might be.
William of the what is a Toro? Like a bull? William of the Bulls.
William of the Bulls. William of the Bulls.
Which gets way closer to like a Native American name. This is William of the Bulls. Of Bulls. Runs with Bulls. Cheers,
That's how
dude.
I got it. Here we go. We got a nice bottle of Willet, which old Benjo and I have, as you would expect,
Got
already.
for free because they sponsor the program.
That's right. We're about halfway through it already. So
we've done some damage before. Well, we
hope
planned
you
to
enjoy.
start like a half hour ago, 45 minutes ago, and then Doofy Josh came in and took a while and broke a glass and then had to clean that up and
itchy butthole.
the whole itchy butthole with the cortisone cream that he rubbed on it.
It's a tough life.
It was weird, yeah. I think Doofy Josh is like one of my favorite names I've heard. That comes courtesy of Lou, a killer. Doofy. Oh, man. Shame. Josh did bring him a donut, though, on the podcast that Lou did, so I think that was, that's pretty sweet. He's
That's
a
a
sweet
nice
guy.
gesture. That's nice. Yeah.
He's
Josh
a very
is a
sweet guy.
sweetheart.
He is a goddamn sweetheart.
100%.
God fucking damn it. Hey, so we're ending Sober October, which, how long did you last? You went a pretty good time.
So I went an entire month without smoking weed, which was big for me. That was
for
sort
you,
of
that's
like
huge.
Yeah. So I went in a whole month without smoking weed.
Yeah.
And I guess technically the clock on me not getting drunk ended up being 25 days, right? I think it was. I think it was 25.
Get even closer to that shit, by the way.
25
Just
days.
make out with it the whole time.
I'll make out with it. Yeah. So I think 25 days for not drinking, which
Was it 25?
was last Saturday.
Was that us? Was that us being dumb?
Actually, last Friday, because Andrew came into town.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a spectacular way to end.
Yes, yeah. If you're gonna burn it down in style.
Semi-sober October.
For those of you who don't know, Ben and I, maybe influenced a little bit by me, attempted to burn down downtown Los Angeles last Saturday night in spectacular fashion.
Spectacular fashion. We went
Done.
Yeah, we went. We played a show early in the day with whoever.
Speed of Light.
Speed of Light at their residency at the Redwood. Is that like a thing that they're doing or what? Someone asked me, like, is this a monthly?
It is. It's because they're underage. And so it's one of those things where they have to play
before the bar is 21
essentially, yeah. Basically, like by dinner time, quote unquote,
Yeah.
like it turns into a full-on bar, so they can't play there.
How old are those guys?
Literally like 13, 15, and 17.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Riley,
God.
the bass player, is the youngest one.
Okay.
The first time we played with them, I'm pretty sure she was 12.
Jesus
So she's like,
Christ.
yeah, they're babies.
What
like
are their
they're
parents?
kids.
What are their parents doing, letting them play with us?
Cheers to you. Cheers to them. Because, I mean, it's crazy. They're like, the energy is outrageous.
Yeah.
The songs are pretty fucking good.
Yeah, they're a cool band.
And they're teenagers. They're kids in terms of.
And not only
in
are they
relation
kids,
to our age,
they
like,
quoted Big Lebowski with us for like
the entire
the
setup
entire
of
night.
us.
Yeah, just like the entire time, and they knew all the quotes. And
That also made me very happy.
yeah, what was it? The guitarist was wearing a Melvin shirt. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about how the next generation is screwed, but these guys, Speed of light, man.
So I was talking to someone, and they were telling me about how it's like they all three have different influences.
Yeah.
So you've got a little bit of Radiohead, you have like a little bit of like Melvins or Slipknot in there.
Yeah, right.
And then a little bit of like the classic stuff as well.
Yeah, you can hear that.
But they bring them together so well. It's just this crazy hodgepodge of sounds.
They were punky.
Yeah,
They were
very punky.
They kind of reminded me of like a less polished King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Just like
I feel that
just like a barrage of sound. Like
coming at you.
yeah, it was fun. And okay, so what did we do? We went to we ended up. I had to play another show at Silver Lake Lounge with my band.
Yep,
That's the name of the band.
correct.
Which every single time I need to talk to Jasmine about changing that name because people are like, oh, like The Absurd. I'm like, no, like my band. The band, my band, you ass. Anyway, so
I can't believe that's not taken, by the way, either.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, it's my band with an underscore on Instagram, I think. So
So-
maybe someone else had it.
Okay. Skirted on in there.
Skirted in there. So then, what? Okay, you convinced me to go to Nomad, and then then your wife convinced us all to go to
La Cita.
La Cita, where we did not do anything illegal, but it could be perceived as though we might have. So
Correct.
2 minutes after we get there, the best is the setup of just like, and the whole time is, we're with Kev from Mechanical Roots, who I just had over yesterday. And she's just like, you guys, just be on your best behavior. Like, this guy's my cousin. He owns the bar, and he owns a couple other bars, and I really want you guys to play at those bars. And we're like,
Got it. Yeah, of course.
100%. What,
We're there.
You've met us, right? Like, no problem. And so 2 minutes after we get there, you're like, yo, man, want to go to the bathroom? And I'm like, yeah, man, I do want to go to the bathroom. So we
Sure.
go there, and immediately the bouncer starts pounding on the door. And neither of us know it's a bouncer. And I didn't know you were like shit-faced until that moment.
I don't know if I knew that I was shit-faced either
I don't
until
think
that
you
moment.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to me, up until that point, the biggest thing was walking from Nomad to La Cita and me finding out that I didn't have any cigarettes.
Oh, yes.
And I was preoccupied with that. That was about it. And then we got to La Cita, and then all bets were off. That was it.
So we go to the bathroom, and I'm noticing you kind of doing the...
Power step.
I'm like, all right, man, he's feeling the music here. And we like skip the whole line because there's a whole line to get in there. It's Saturday night. We're like, yeah, VIP, whatever. Immediately, get the fuck out of there. We're like, oh, man. So like we go out, and both, actually me mostly, I think, because you were concentrating. But I was like, yo, man, yeah, we'll be out. Like, it's fine. Which later, maybe that's where you got the line. So we go out, and as we try to
just
turn
plucked it.
to our friends, he's just like, I think you meant to go this way. And we're like, nope, friend's over there.
Pretty sure that way.
Yeah, that's that way. And he's like, no, you meant to go this way. And there's another bouncer holding the door open. And we're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, Big Willie.
I had a beer at the bar apparently.
Yeah.
I
I had a drink waiting too.
went back to the bar, and then like looking back, it's like, how did I get a beer that quick? But I'm just like posted up at the bar with our group with the beer, and I'm just like, nah, it's good, dude.
Yeah, but
no,
before
we're
that, the bouncer is confronting both of us, and you're like, all right. And you give me a look like, I got this. I'm like, all right. Slick Willie's about to go in for the win. Slide onto that home plate at the right moment. You put your arm on the guy, and you're like, look, man, it's all good. It's fine. And you give him that Jedi kind of look.
crazy eye, the crazy eye that I'm known for.
And you
There
just
go.
walk away, and he turns to me and goes, what the fuck was that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, but you're kicking me out too. So what, do you think I'm on your side? Like, and you're over drinking a beer going like this to me. I'm like, dude,
waving you in.
this guy's kicking me out. Like, and that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, he is 4 sheets to the wind.
Hammered.
Like,
Yes. Yeah, I was wasted.
fantastic.
And we proceeded to go on a little downtown adventure.
Little adventure through the bars next door, whatever the hell those bars are, where you're just like,
This guy babysat me for like an hour and a half.
good hour and a half maybe. Kev immediately is like, yo, we're out of here. I'm like, we're getting back in. Don't worry about it. It takes us an hour to get back in. So then we go back in, and on the way back in, we get a phone call from your wife, and she's like, all right, the guy is gonna come get you, and just tell Will to be really apologetic and walk in a straight line. And I'm like, no problem, Will. Be apologetic, walk in a straight line. And you're like, man, I don't have any cigarettes. And I'm like, you haven't had cigarettes for an hour and a half, Will. And you're like, wait. Walk
This
in a
is
straight
still not
line
solved.
and be apologetic. And I'm like, yes. And you're like, dude, perfect. So we get up to the door. I'm like, just wait for the person that we're waiting for. And you're like, got it. Don't even worry about it. So we get up there and you immediately walk in. And the bouncer who kicked us out is right out front, just like, you fucking motherfucker.
This fucking white boy over here, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And I'm like, Will, and you're like, oh, man, my bad. And like, so we're standing out there for like 15 minutes, and you're just like, dude, I think we might be fucked. I'm like, I think we might be. Dude. Like, there's some hot dogs. We get some hot dogs. You take a bite. Our liaison comes up and is just like, Will. And you're on the phone with a hot dog in your other hand.
Like, who the fuck was on the phone to in this moment?
I think it was your wife, but I'm not
Anne
sure.
was trying. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I'm not sure.
she's trying to rein me in. Like,
It
hey.
was awesome. And Carl there you go. Anyway, he's like, yo, Will. And you're just like not hearing it. I'm like, hey, man, I'm Ben. Sorry for getting kicked out of your club, man. And he's like, yo, Will. Like 30 seconds to a minute later, you look up, you're like, dude, what's going on, man? I didn't notice you were there. And it's like, oh, God. And the rest of the night was smooth.
Yep.
Yeah.
We managed to not get kicked out after we got back in.
Considered trying, though.
Yeah.
We considered it.
Yeah. The idea was tossed about, maybe.
Yeah. No, that's how Sober October ended. And honestly, so like last year I did Sober October. I was surprised you decided to do it this year. Or try, you know?
Yeah.
You pretty much made it. 25 days is like a win.
Yeah, dude, I consider it a good run.
Yeah.
I basically, for one thing or another, I've not been sober since I was 17.
Yeah. That's a good
So
run.
I'm now 30.
Jesus.
And so recently I went back to New York with my wife for it was a family reunion and a wedding. And it was for 11 days, and we just basically went hard all 11 days.
Yeah.
And just drinking.
Yeah.
So I came back, and I was like, well, we've not tried to do this. What if you give this a shot?
Yeah, right.
So I brought it up to Anne, my wife, and she got very excited about it.
Huh.
And so we committed to it. And had a good run.
Nice.
I consider it a success. I bitched a long way throughout the process. But I think it had...
Yeah, like 3 days after we started, we went to a Karma Vulture practice, and you're just like heated, and you're like, we got in an argument, and I'm like, it's gonna be all right, man. And like the next day, I think I saw you or something, and I was like, dude, I think I know why you got in that argument. Like, I know why you just
October,
yeah,
dude. Yep,
exactly.
that's
like,
it. That's it. And so
Bless her for understanding.
yes, very much so, and many other things as well. But you know, it gave me like, okay, so even though I didn't make it the full month,
Yeah.
it gave me a newfound appreciation,
Yeah.
I guess, of being sober. Like
Yeah.
to me, the big thing was like not smoking weed
Yeah.
for a month because that's something that I've done basically every day since I was 17.
Yeah, right.
And so that was a big part of it. And so
Oh, see, I didn't know you smoked that much. I knew you smoked a pretty good amount, though.
all the time. So I went the full month not smoking weed.
Yeah.
And so now, like after it was over, I realized that I kind of enjoy being clear-headed.
Yeah.
You know, like throughout the day.
Strange.
And you know what I mean? Like it's sort of waking up and not feeling bad or not even feeling like confused, just waking up and being able to go.
Yeah, just like immediately.
Yeah.
It's a new sensation.
And so I welcome that. And I'm glad I did it because of
Yeah.
that. The booze, you know, it was something like I had a buddy come in from town. I hadn't
Yeah.
seen him in 10 years. So I'm like, look,
Yeah,
this is
I
not
didn't-
standing a
10
chance.
years. No,
Yeah.
no. You are obligated to drink with that person.
But I also found out that like this is probably like midway through October. Like I'm just as productive.
Yeah.
I do everything that I normally do.
Yeah.
Right? So like one of the things like, okay, you work hard, you like to play hard, but I'm getting all of this stuff done. The only difference is I'm sleeping like shit. And I think that was because of not smoking weed.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I noticed. So I remember studying REM rebound, which is just like if you sleep while you're drunk or high a lot, apparently like your brain just doesn't properly go into the REM phase of sleep
right.
or whatever.
You don't hit the final stages or something like that.
Well,
Like,
yeah, REM sleep is weirdly like really light sleep, so I don't really understand the actual neurobiology behind it or anything, the neurophysiology, whatever. I don't understand it, but I know that like when you don't get enough REM sleep, you're kind of screwed.
Right.
So it's like
detrimental in a way to you.
So dude, the first 2 weeks this year for me were just like a carnival. It was just like a carnival. And it reminds me of do you know Doug Stanhope?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like one of my favorites, and he's like, any of you guys ever tried sleeping sober? It's just like as soon as you close your eyes, like
Off to the fucking races, dude.
yes,
Yep.
and that's because if you drink and smoke a lot, you're not getting proper amounts of REM sleep. So once you do it, once you go sober and try to sleep, it's just like, yeah, good luck. Your sleep is going to be more exhausting than being awake.
I tried melatonin. And that worked to an extent, but I was still up after I took it.
Yeah,
Like it says, take it 20 minutes before you go to sleep.
Right.
I'd still be up an hour and a half after that.
yeah. Melatonin never worked for me. I tried that in college.
Yeah.
It was never my thing.
No.
Honestly, what works for me is exhausting myself during the day. Just like
Just going
working.
until you can't go anymore.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you feel like you earned your relaxation, and you feel like, you know what, this is going to be good sleep.
Right.
Because God damn it, I'm a hardworking man, and I earned this,
Right.
It's like
Right. That's
like good call on the CBDs too.
the CBD. That was the MVP of Sober October. Dude.
That was a wonderful call.
I gained a newfound appreciation for that.
Oh my God, man. Well, I was like, all right, now is some of the times when I want to drink, I can probably just go with CBD.
Right.
Do you think it's like, so I got the Sober October thing from Rogan, right? Joe Rogan.
Take a leak.
Again?
I do.
All right,
Again.
I'll sit here and entertain people.
All right.
There is no editing on this podcast. Will Hammond. So now I must sing the song of my people for the masses. I mean, following on that thought, though, I do kind of wonder if obviously artists are more prone to, abusing substances and stuff like that. So artists are probably the one who really need the Sober October thing. Although at this point, I think Sober October, like last year, I did a month, and I did the whole month with no cheating or anything because I had an album coming out, our first full-length album from The Absurd. So I had like all this adrenaline, and I had to do all these things like try to get interviews and stuff like that. And this year, I just did it because I did it last year. I'm explaining why with the Sober October and whatnot.
Is that the first bathroom break you've had on the
Oh,
podcast?
no, there have been many bathroom
Nice.
breaks. Yeah,
Excellent.
You're good. But I was saying
Sober October.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
it this year because last year I did it just because like I think I heard Joe Rogan talk about it, but also like we had an album coming out and like
Something to work for.
Yeah.
Work towards.
yeah,
And you can-
exactly.
yeah.
And it's like this year it's just like, oh well, I did it last year, so let's do it. And it's like by like week 3, you're just kind of like, why am I doing this? Especially if you're not more productive. But one thing I did kind of learn, even from this time, I think I made it like 3 weeks, and then I was like breaking the vow a little bit, like
Right.
like slowly until we just smashed it with a hammer on Saturday.
Slowly pulling the Band-Aid off, and then you just fucking rip it
Yeah,
off.
just all right, rip it. I think I did kind of learn though. There's something about like I think it is like the waking up with like the clarity.
It's very nice.
It's huge because you don't wake up just like, ugh, all right, now I need like a 2-hour routine to get rid of this before I
Because
even start things.
You wake up and you wake up with a mentality that is not reactive.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. I
Yeah.
think, at least for me anyway, like you wake up clear-headed.
Get on that son of a bitch. Get on that son of a bitch.
Like
Yeah.
you know what you're supposed to do, what you've got to do that day.
Yeah.
And so you wake up and it's just immediately like, okay, go towards this.
Yeah, right.
You can do you're not feeling slow, you're not feeling sluggish. it's not hazy at all. You can just
Yeah.
go and do it. And so it's an idea of like, I enjoy the idea of not being necessarily reactive right off the bat, but
Yeah.
rather so proactive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to just wake up and, and I was saying this too. I think like, musicians and probably artists of all walks of life or whatever seem to they gravitate more towards substance abuse and just use and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's because like they're just killing time because there's kind of a lot of downtime, or are they just addicts, or they're suckers for like experience, or something like, or they're just depressed?
I think it could be all of those.
Yeah.
Like, so I think I understand why I developed the lifestyle that I did for a long time. But yeah, all of it goes into it, man. I think a lot of it is like, can be depression.
Yeah.
A lot of it can also just be experience. Just the idea of like, maybe you're really fucking down. For me, I think that it was a little bit. I think a little bit of experience, and I don't know, maybe just like I could do a lot of things while being
Screwed up.
stoned or a little wasted, right?
Yeah.
So in knowing that I can go handle a lot of things while being on various substances.
Yeah.
And it can be a good thing, but then at a certain point it can be a bad thing. So I think Sober October was a way in which like you sort of reel it back in.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it gave me a newfound appreciation for waking up in the morning and being level-headed and taking on everything through that mindset rather than smoking some weed or doing what.
Do you think here, this is sort of related, I guess. Do you think that there's some almost like motivation to be depressed or angry or existentially upset as a creator of art? Maybe as a musician in particular, because I don't make other kinds of art, but you know what I mean? It's almost like you almost have to tap into frustration or depression or that feeling of loneliness to write, like to create stuff.
So
Do you feel like that or no? I feel like that sometimes, but I want to find any reason for that not to be true.
I guess that can be a thing. I think what I've always chalked it up to is in general is I think people who end up becoming artists, musicians, painters, like whatever it may be, I think they may be more inclined to be more sensitive, maybe to be more aware to certain aspects of life and society that can tend to get people down or depressed. Like, a lot of times I feel like it's people who are more in touch with their feelings and their emotions. For me, though, I have a way to express that and vent that through music, right? So that's, I don't know if I don't like speaking for other people.
Right.
But for me, it that sort of is what it is. Like it's not a motivation to or a call to arms per se, but just something where like maybe you feel things a little differently or a little bit more deeply than a lot of other people. And you have an outlet in which you can release it.
Yeah.
And so you just tend to basically bottle it up and channel it.
Yeah.
And proceed through that.
So I'm kind of wondering if those things work in like a symbiosis or like a reciprocal relationship or something.
Right.
Like misery and creation. It's like, okay, you do have the outlet, but what if the outlet conditions you in such a way that you feel like you're almost more willing to allow yourself to get depressed because you know that from that miserable experience is going to come more creation, and then from the more creation is going to come this downswing. It's almost just like being perpetually bipolar.
Right. So I think maybe given my history with certain things, maybe that did play a role with it.
Well, I'm not even talking about that specifically.
Right, but that's kind of relatable.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not sure if it does or not, but I think things in life tend to to be cyclical.
Yeah.
Right? They tend to go into a cycle, and it can be something where it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Ultimately, this is what I think. I think great artists are people who feel certain things, or they perceive certain things about the world in a specific way. And so they vent that through their art.
Right.
Right? And that has I don't necessarily think that has a bearing or a grounding in something that may already exist.
Yeah.
Or this idea of like feeding into a constant cycle of, I don't know, like looking for things to become depressed about and then creating your art. I don't know if it works like that, but I do think that the best artists are the ones who have a unique perspective on things. They take that in and then they put it out as it is. And then how other people interpret it, that's up to them. That can be any number of ways. It's very open-ended, but I don't think there's really a right or wrong or yes or no answer to that.
Yeah,
I
don't think there is at all. Yeah. So I'm asking an unfair question.
No, not even. It's like, dude, there's so many in the scene that we're in.
Yeah.
The West Side Revival. Mm-hmm. Okay. There are so many bands and musicians that I look up to.
Yeah.
And I enjoy watching them play.
Yeah.
I enjoy their performances, right? From just like a songwriting aspect or certain guitar players or bands as a whole.
Yeah, right.
As much as I enjoy watching them and looking forward to seeing what they're bringing to the table, I can say with what we're trying to do in Karma Vulture, and even Dirty Lovely Creatures, right?
Yeah.
The way we write songs and approach songs. As much as I enjoy seeing all these other people in bands play, I don't look to that for influence.
Huh. Yeah.
Or ideas.
Well, so where do you get influence and ideas?
To me, influence and ideas comes from basically everyday experience in life.
Keep talking right into it. You'll sound sexier when you do. You get that deep, gravelly Will Hammond voice.
The sweet Dick Willie. Yeah, I think it tends. I'm just as likely to take influence from a movie or a film.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I get influence from that all the time.
As I would.
Do you want a cube?
Yeah, I'm down. I just feel like as an artist, it's very important to have your own voice and do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I go for.
Yeah.
So,
so what makes you do it though? Like, because what I'm getting at is like when I was a little younger, sort of starting to write songs and stuff, I just did it because basically it was compulsive or compulsory. Like I just had to, you know. Like
exactly.
It didn't come from a specific place. Yeah, which is. So the question I'm asking you is one that has pissed me off multiple times, where it's when people are like, "What? Why do you do that?" I'm like, I don't know. Like, I never thought about that before. Jesus.
So, okay.
But now as you get a little bit older and you figure things out a little bit more, it's like, all right, well, I could write that song and work on that riff. But realistically, I got to be trying to find some jobs and work. And, like, you know, you just have more to juggle. You know?
You do. And that's the thing is, like, this opens a whole gauntlet. Like, the difference in the music industry now.
Yeah.
As opposed to if you were an artist or musician in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that you could be a young band, just a bunch of like young 20-something people, you know, right, whatever. You're writing songs, you're playing live. You have someone come to you.
Yeah.
They enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
They'll give you a massive amount of money for a record advance.
Right.
The only thing you have to do is come up with a record in 12 or 18 months. That's it. Artist development, right? We'll just throw money at you. If we like the record, we will actually promote it. We won't shelf it.
Right.
But it's not done like that anymore. You have to prove so much more on your own today. And so the idea of today, like if you're a successful artist and you're coming from an independent background,
Yeah.
you have to juggle a lot more to be able to maintain your art,
Yeah.
let alone like get it out there to other people, just to maintain a consistent art form, if you will. There's so much more that goes into it because the system's so differently. People don't buy music anymore,
Yeah,
so labels don't throw money at you the same way.
Right.
So it's a bit more of a challenge. It's like one of those things where it's like Metallica, the Black Album from Metallica. They basically I read this thing where they took 6 months to get the kick tone for the Black Album.
Yeah, I think you might have told me about that before. Somebody
Can you
has,
imagine the amount of time and money
Yeah.
that was spent to do that? Okay, great. But it doesn't work like that anymore. So nowadays, like you have to juggle. You don't have an entire team of people who are managing all of these aspects outside of music. You have
Why
to
do you think that is? I mean, I'm actually curious because I had Kev over yesterday, and I talk about this with all of my musician friends. Just like, why is it that things went the way that they went? How did we find ourselves here? And yeah, I guess what did rock and roll just die? Did people stop liking it? Like what?
No.
Why did it change?
I think, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that, like, when you look at the formula for the music industry and the success of it, there never really was an exact equation.
Right.
You just hear all these horror stories of artists getting fucked over on major labels.
Yeah.
Some success stories, but for the most part, it's people getting fucked over. And it's labels like sometimes pulling some really shady stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think the music industry was ready for what Napster
Yeah, the internet.
offered, the internet.
Yeah.
And so that happened. And then after that happened, it was essentially a thing in which, for whatever reason, within society, it became acceptable to where music was a form of art in which you don't have to pay for it.
Right.
And there's pros and cons to that. The internet, like, there's definitely pros to having the internet influence the music industry as much as it does.
I was going to say,
it's two sides to a coin here, right? But the big negative is the fact that, like, still to this day, like, when you look at the way streaming royalties are set up and downloads, the artist continually gets fucked, makes pennies on the dollar, and you...
Do you know, I mean, so I should probably research this shit a little more extensively considering how often I bitch about it. I've done, some research, but is it the case that, like, weren't artists getting fucked by the labels back in the day? I've heard a lot of talk about that.
Yes.
So do you think it's better now or was it better then?
Well, that's a very tricky question.
Yeah.
I think that definitely that depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons. So what I think is this. I think that it's easier now to get your music made, to record your own music, to get it out there. But it's just as hard, if not harder now than ever before, to actually have it truly being heard.
Right, like be impactful.
I think it all goes back to the idea of, like, who do you know? The cat's over there. Just
What an odd
it
way
real
to
hard.
sleep. Just
That's
anyway.
I think it depends on your situation and who you know. Like, if I feel like if we were in the situation that we're in now 30 years ago, the chances that we would have a label come to us and just throw a bunch of money,
Throw some money at it.
and be like, give us a record in 12 months or a year and a half. Okay, we can do that. That's probably a lot more likely. Are you more successful after that? Who knows? I don't know if I really have an answer.
Yeah.
But it just... ultimately, what's a bummer, I think, is the fact that like music is something that people have grown accustomed to the idea of like we don't
for free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is like you're talking about people who are putting their entire selves out there on the line.
Yes.
Right? That is their existence. It's an art form that a lot of people can latch onto,
Yeah.
right? Like you create the soundtrack for a point in someone's life,
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
And that idea is now just being given away for free. So if you're an artist, more people are hearing your music, but at the same time, you're not making any money out of it. So how are you able to sustain yourself as an artist?
That's the thing. That's the thing.
That's what's tricky.
Yeah. And I think maybe I've started this podcast to have people over so that I can I can compile all their ideas and then be like, all right, boom, I'm making money. Like, I need everyone else's input, and then I'll put it all together, sift through the good and the bad, and then there we go. We have the answer.
Right.
But it is, I am interested for other people to weigh in on this. I'm actually interested from people who are working, who I also respect artistically and, because they have a good business savvy or whatever. And
Right.
the thing I feel like I've always the thing I've never cared about really is the business side. And
Right.
I haven't started, I never worried about that until it was like, oh shit, I'm in LA and
This is a thing you have to act.
it's not like you show up, you play music, and then some cigar chomping record exec comes up and
Exactly.
he's like, hey, you boys are on for something
Sound
nice.
pretty good. Let me
throw $500,000
You're off to the
at
big
you.
time now.
Yeah,
Here you go.
exactly. Like, we think you really got what it takes, but you got to ditch your fucking, bassist or your band.
Right.
Or, man, even that, like, and you see the stories of like so many musicians complaining from back in the day, like, record label, man, they told me how to
getting fucked,
do
or
it.
like,
And it's like,
everything.
man, like, damn, at least you had a job. Like,
Right.
my job is waiting tables.
Well, see, that's the thing is like, on the one hand, a lot of those guys who bitch and complain about that, I guess, I mean, look, if you're asking me what situation would I prefer, I would prefer to have, I guess, somebody from a label come to me and be like, look, I'll give you $250,000
Yeah.
for you and your band to hone your craft,
Yeah.
get into a studio.
Well, and they're the gatekeepers. They give you the exposure. You know what I mean? That's the hard part. Is
Right.
getting, like, look, you might have one of the best bands in the world, and I think Karma Vulture is fucking awesome.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, I wouldn't play with you guys if I didn't think that. You don't know that. As far as I'm concerned, this is a very...
Karma Vulture sucks.
This is a guest. Yeah, I've never met this man in my life. But, I would prefer, like, even if that music got in front of some of the right people, let's say,
right.
they would just be like, yeah, well, I have a million other questions for you. Like, how many followers do you have on this platform? How many, shirts have you sold? How many do you have an album? Like, it's like, Christ, man, whatever happened to artist development?
Yeah.
It's just not a thing anymore.
It does not exist.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's a shame because, like...
Or maybe it does, just not for our genre.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's that argument, too. There's a lot of guys, like, you can watch... there's, like, more and more documentaries and movies coming out about, guys who are involved with the 80s hair metal scene.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys getting interviewed now.
Yeah.
Like, they made so much money back in the day.
Yeah, right.
But now people are talking to them, and it's one of those things where, like, they realize it's like, dude, you put it all up your nose.
Yep.
That's it. All up your nose. And because of that, because of, I think, like, generations of, maybe it's the machine enabling people.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of people who were not able to even get a decent album to the label.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it gets turned away and your career's over.
Yeah.
Or you're shelved.
Well,
and
the advantage of now, I think, is that, like, you have ultimate control. Like,
exactly.
You for sure
You don't
do.
have to bend the knee to that. And that's a huge pro.
That is huge. The thing is, though, it's like, what is it, Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, or whoever Spider-Man's uncle is, Peter Parker's uncle, is like, with great power comes great responsibility,
Right.
and it's like,
Right.
so true. So
Yep.
true. Like, the problem is, like, you have so much freedom, but freedom comes at a cost, and that cost is that you're going to have to work a lot harder. Maybe
You do.
You know,
You can't. You have to. You have
and
to. Do
artists
all
are
the little
musicians
things.
are notoriously lazy pieces of
Oh, yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
So like,
Everybody's down to play music.
Yes.
And go play shows.
Yeah.
And do the whole rock and roll thing
Yeah.
until it comes time to being like, well, yo, we got to go on the road.
yep.
We have to actually like dive full into this.
Well, that's like
and then they dissipate.
that's taking a risk. That's betting on your own future. I mean, this is what so many people don't want to do. And I think what we'll do is maybe take a break in a minute. And then when we come back, hopefully we'll be able to pick up on something coherent.
Yeah.
It'll be a smoke break. But it is interesting that like I don't know, like I've seen a lot of people just like dip their toes into the water, but they don't want to swim. You know what I mean? Like,
Not at all.
yeah, and it's like, okay, so you haven't, and I think Javier from Western would call these Instagram bands. There's,
Yep.
you have an Instagram
You
account,
focus all on the social media and
Yeah.
all of this fucking following, but
Yeah.
like,
which fine, you have a better following than I do. So
right. But
good.
where's the meat though?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, where's the substance, dude?
Yeah, and you got to figure like there are still people like me and you and friends that we have out there. Like we're waiting for your really good album.
Right.
I'm waiting for an album that I can listen all the way through to and be like, Jesus, fuck, that was good.
That's incredible.
That's an amazing band with amazing songs, and like everybody's like, nah, you got to release singles and blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, okay, I understand that there is the business side. Okay, you do have to
Right.
play that side of the game, but as a consumer, as someone who just loves music, like kind of the way that bands are focusing on stuff now is baffling to me. And I wonder if you feel this in your band, like you kind of have to, like, navigating the business waters or marketing waters is like something that you never would have really thought of, you know? And it's like totally shit, I'm like 7-8 years older than these fucking kids and they're crushing me with this game. Like I'm crushing them with the actual music, but like
Right.
that doesn't matter.
Not anymore. No, it's a weird transition, and it's something like
Woe is me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Whoa.
so. Maybe this is a good point to take a break and
Yeah.
hop back on afterwards. But with Panic in Eden, like we had been around for years.
Panic in Eden being your first band.
Yeah,
Before Karma
Connor
Vulture.
and I's first. Yeah, and we played Voodoo Festival, opened up for Nine Inch Nails, Pearl Jam.
Yeah, that's
Cure.
wild.
It was a great time. We that band broke up. We got it back together again. The first gig was South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Then we recorded an album.
Yeah.
The thing with recording an album within that period of time was something in which, even though we got good reception, we had good write-ups, all this, we were picking up a lot of momentum. We released the album all at once, and it was like everything was out there.
Yeah.
We were also fucked up in some ways, and like we didn't have a lot of things together, but we had great reviews to the album.
Yeah.
We had a lot of things going in our favor, and the band just dissipated. It just fell off because of the fact that, like, well, for different reasons. But after that was done, and then Panic in Eden just broke up.
Yeah.
And then Connor, Nick, and I formed Karma Vulture. It was the idea of, like, doing it right. We want to be smart about it.
Yeah.
And the idea of, like, if you release an album, especially as a new band, right off the bat, you've got 10 or 12 songs out there. You're blowing your load right off the bat.
And you're not generating any kind of interest,
Right.
Yeah.
So the idea of trying to be smarter, because, like, even if we enjoy bands that would produce albums,
Yeah.
great albums
Yeah.
of fucking music,
Right.
okay, you got to acquiesce to the game.
Yeah.
You got to bend a little bit.
Well, you just got to do it. Yeah.
Right. And so, that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying
Yeah.
to be smarter about it,
Yeah.
one single at a time. And that's why I want to do essentially
You
two
guys
or
are being
three
smarter.
EPs
You got me,
before
so
we got
that's
the
smart.
CD. Yeah, I'll take it, dude. Yeah, I feel good about that.
Take what I can fucking get. You know what I mean? Bada bing, bada boom. Come on. All right, I'm going to pick up with this story after. Let's do quick smoke break. Hey, and in the little break, I'll play one of your songs.
Hey,
It'll be great.
sounds good.
Yeah. Something.
The day that we met, oh, how could I forget? I took you home and we got stoned. I should've run and let you in, and I should've run, and I should've. You are the one that made me this way. Now I can't run from my thoughts. You're here to stay. You're here to stay. Yeah. The day you had to go, I took on a heavy load, an infection of my soul. Inside my head you made a hole, and I should've run, and I could've, and I would've. You are the one that made me this way. Yeah. Now I can't run from my thoughts. You're here to stay. You're here to stay. Yeah. That made me this way. Yeah. Now I can't run from my thoughts. You're here to stay. You're here to stay.
Really, any volume you want will do. All right, so we're back from
Hello.
Yeah. The thing, the smoke break that we took. Which, how many cigarettes did you smoke during that break?
2.
Only 2.
Only 2.
Those things kind of go fast. What's with your fascination with these Canadian cigarettes?
They are. That's a long story. I quit smoking for fucking 6 months.
Damn.
And my wife's stepdad put this particular brand in my stocking one Christmas.
After
Yeah.
6 months of you quitting?
Yep.
Oh, what
Yeah.
a dick.
Because he was from Chicago. Apparently, you can't
Stay
get
up-
these
stay up on that
cigarettes
mic,
in
son.
Chicago. And so he comes through.
You can move that stand in any way you want, too.
He finds these cigarettes
Yeah.
out here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And so he asked my wife if he can put them in there. And Ann's like, yeah, he's been doing good. It's like one of those things where I got to where like I didn't smoke for so long that like even when I went out and I would get drunk or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I have a few drinks, whatever. I would smoke a couple cigarettes, that's it.
Yeah.
Go back to normal, no big deal. And I tried these cigarettes, and I don't know, 3.5 years later, been smoking them religiously every day since.
Thanks, stepdad.
They're incredible.
They're pretty good. I've had a few of them.
Exportas, or exportes, however you pronounce them. Either way,
Also a sponsor of the show.
full flavor. Fantastic. And honestly, throughout Sober October, I had someone ask me, are you not smoking cigarettes either? My response was basically, if I was not smoking
Mostly
cigarettes throughout this month, I would have committed manslaughter at this point. Like, yeah. It's a thing. When you slowly realize that you've become addicted to something,
Yeah.
right? That's a whole process in
Yeah.
itself. I'll stop smoking cigarettes eventually, someday, I'm sure.
Right.
But right now is not the day.
No.
Not the
Today is-
time.
today is not the
And
day.
It is not at all. And
Well, that's
they're
what's-
quite fantastic. They've got a fucking great taste.
That's what's been
Great
kind of
deal.
nice about
Exporto.
the Sober October thing is like I remember you told me a while ago, you're like, dude, I'm getting like the same amount of stuff done that I would. I'm kind of bummed. I was looking forward to getting more done. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Which I think means that in real life, when you're not just forcing yourself to be sober for a month, you're fine. Like,
Right.
I think that's what that means. Cigarettes, though, if you just can't kick them, dude, I did chewing tobacco and the snus and the cigarettes for years and years and years. And like, man, that is one of the hardest addictions to get over.
One of the most fucked
quit
up
like 4
I've ever
times.
been was off of chewing
Chewing
tobacco.
tobacco?
Yeah.
Were you already drunk?
I was not already drunk. I was
Really?
really fucking stoned though.
Oh, that's interesting. What
Yeah.
happened there?
And this is a college memory. Of
course.
So my buddy who dipped all the time, right?
Yeah. What was he on? Was he on Grizz? Was he on Skull?
I mean, one of the two. I don't
Copenhagen?
even
What did he
remember.
have?
Like one of the main fucking
must judge him.
dip companies. So I smoked about because at the time I was slinging a lot of marijuana.
Nice.
And it was kind of a trade-off for certain things. My buddy worked at Raising Cane's, so I would give him a lot of marijuana.
Yeah.
And in return, he would bring me a lot of amazing chicken and fries and fucking garlic bread. And he worked there, and he was just like, yo, how much you want? I'm trying to come over and smoke.
It's a
Here you
dark
go.
road you're going down,
It
man.
is,
One
right?
day it's
Yeah.
chicken, next it's fucking red meat,
You-
next you're going full on deli sandwiches.
Yep. It's a
Man.
dark path.
Dark
Dark path. And so he so his roommate, I'm over there smoking him out one night. And we don't have any cigarettes
Yeah.
at the time. So he's like, try this. So I tried it. And I've tried like snooze a couple times.
Oh yeah. I got heavily addicted to that.
So
'Cause you don't
I
have to
fucking
spit.
do this, and I turned into a fucking vegetable for the rest of the night,
On the
dude.
snooze or on the chewing tobacco?
It was the dip.
Oh yeah.
And so my buddy, I remember him being like, "Bro, you're not supposed to swallow it."
Oh.
No shit.
Oh.
I didn't swallow it. Of
Oh.
course, everybody fucking dude, you don't.
I thought you swallowed it. I was
you
like,
gotta,
dude,
I was
you
like,
really
bro, I got
gotta
a spit cup like 6 inches from me.
you gotta not swallow it.
No, you do not swallow it.
That would be bad.
Anybody who is thinking or do not swallow that
Hey kids,
shit.
here's a PSA.
Yeah.
Don't swallow.
And so, I mean, I don't know what it is, dude, but we smoked some weed. So I did this dip.
Yeah.
And I basically sat on the couch for 3.5 hours in the same spot in a fucking vegetative state.
Did you throw up or no?
No, I didn't. But it was one of those things where I knew like I was so out of my mind that if I moved at all. I would throw up. So
have
I just
seen-
sat there until I eventually felt the feeling fade away.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
I was like, all right,
I've seen so
it.
many people at like
Never
college
again.
parties. Yeah, right.
never again, dude.
See, I had already, so I smoked cigarettes and did some snooze, and then like somebody was like, yo, you want to try it? I guess I tried chewing tobacco when I was pretty young, but like, and at some point, one of my best friends in the world, who I lived with for a few years, just like developed a pretty nasty habit with this shit. And I like got into the nasty habit too. He's like, yo, man, you want some? I'm like, sure. And like, we were both just like, oh man, this is the buzz. Like, that is the grossest habit that
It's
you can
so
possibly
gross, dude.
have.
To me, it's like, look, dude, if you want that fix, just go smoke a cigarette. Go smoke 2 cigarettes,
Except
dude.
for
Just,
the thing is, that dip just hits
sits
all at
there, dude.
once.
Yep.
That's the gross part, is it's sitting there.
it's like when you, like if you ever do a pill, get high off a pill. Sometimes
pill?
there's multiple ways
Like-
to do it.
Like my favorite is putting it up the butt.
That's the recommended way.
Yeah, anal insertion.
Yeah. You realize that like there's all these different things you can do.
Yeah.
But then you eventually find the first way.
Yeah.
The first thing that like makes that it makes its way the fucking fastest and the
Right,
hardest, and
right.
you're just like, all right,
Right.
this is it. Maybe that's like dip or snooze for tobacco.
Well, it is, yeah, because
It's
cigarettes,
a whole different level. dude.
cigarettes, you have to do, yeah, right. Well, with actual drugs, it's a different thing. But the weird thing, like the addictiveness, the addictivity, how addictive nicotine is, it's because it doesn't really fuck you up. If you do too much of a pill, any pill, really. I mean, maybe not ibuprofen or really? You're gonna? Well, every time. If you do too much of Oxys or Percocet or Adderall or really anything like that,
Right.
you're gonna be screwed. But if you do too much nicotine, you're just kind of gonna get like a racy chest, and you're gonna get a bad headache.
You want to pass out, you get the fucking fast heartbeat. It's just like, yo, you're done.
My heartbeat
No
used
more.
to be so screwed up when I was like a heavy like tobacco addict, just like screwed. Like it was bad.
It's not good.
But
It's-
that chewing
I've never
tobacco,
done it since then, bro.
Yeah.
Never.
That chewing tobacco, like the thing is, it just gives you the heavy, just kind of like I've seen so many people in college be drunk and then do one lip and they're just immediately like puking.
Faded.
Oh, it's so funny.
Off in a different
It's so
fucking
funny.
galaxy. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so before the break, if I remember correctly, we were talking something about Panic in Eden. So I want to know, that ties into, I think, your general story. Like, you're not from here, as we've mentioned. You're from Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
And during the break, you're like, I'm afraid I sound like a hick. I'm like, I don't think you do. But
Yeah,
maybe some people feel like you do.
get me around. Well, I've been told that I've lost the accent, but at the same time,
You
I
have
feel
some
like
of it.
You throw a few drinks in me, or you get me around someone else from the South.
Yeah.
And it just fucking bleeds out. There's no stopping it.
I can hear, if I had to guess where you were from, I'd say the South somewhere.
Right.
Like, but I don't, it's not just like, oh my God, this
An
drawl.
insane draw.
This
Right.
is insane. Yeah. So I was going to ask you about Panic in Eden turning into Karma Vulture, but I suppose now I'll just ask you, how did you get to LA, and what has your journey from that point until Karma Vulture been?
So I was born in Germany. I was basically raised in Kentucky,
forget
though.
that, yeah.
Yeah, from the
Where were you
time.
born? Do you know?
Nuremberg.
Cool.
Yeah. So my dad was in the military. He was stationed over there at the time.
Right.
And
Did you move around a lot growing up, or just those two kind of places?
No, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Because he was retired by the time you were born?
No. So basically, my pops got transferred to Fort Campbell
Yeah.
and then Fort Knox
Okay.
right after I was born. So I lived in Germany for a little over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Moved here. My mom's from Kentucky, so we basically relocated in the area that she was from.
Okay.
Proceeded to grow up there. Now,
How old were you when you moved to the States? Like just two or one? Or
yeah, there's two. And so I didn't start playing guitar until I was a junior in high school.
Yeah.
Halfway through my junior year in high school. And basically
So, like, what's that,
by
like 17, 16,
Yeah.
something.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Given how good you are now, that's wild. Yeah.
And so it was around basically after spring break, my freshman year in college. That's when I realized what I wanted to do / what I felt that I should do.
Yeah.
Right. And so from that point on,
Did you have not to interrupt, but did you have any other like this is what I'm gonna do? Like, did you have any other conceptions of yourself that were like, I'm gonna be a firefighter or
vaguely,
Yeah.
but none of them really stood up to pursuing a career in music.
what were they?
Oddly enough, up until I started playing guitar,
Yeah.
I had thought about being a youth pastor.
Interesting.
Because I grew up in it. Parents were Sunday school teachers, and I guess a part of it was I didn't feel like there was. Maybe there's a lot of other options, right? Like
Yeah.
you've grown up in it, you understand it, so you do this. But then I started playing guitar, and once I started playing guitar, like
Oh, you've been introduced to the delicious pleasures of the devil.
there was just this sort of change that happened.
yeah.
It opened up. That's the reason why I still love playing live today, man.
Yeah.
Like just the act of playing guitar to me is therapy.
Yeah.
And playing live,
Right.
that is therapy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I felt that pretty early on.
Yeah.
After I got that.
Yeah.
And I would play 8 to 12 hours a day. All day. I went from playing
Starting
sports
in,
after
starting
school.
in like, oh, you're an athlete?
Yeah.
What'd you play?
Soccer.
Nice.
That was, yeah.
What position?
I was
remember?
goalie.
Right, we've talked about that before.
Right.
Oh man, I forgot until now. Dude, that's intense. That's awesome.
And
Being a goalie was like my least, like I don't want to be that because I want to run around, you know?
I loved it. I always felt like I had
It's like the hardest job in the game.
like really good hands.
Yeah.
As a kid playing football, this or that. But I settled on goalie, got some Division I offers.
Oh, nice.
And
Oh, yeah, right.
but at the same time, my dad is 100% disabled
Okay.
from the military.
Right.
So I knew at this point that I could have my college paid for free
Yes.
because of my dad.
Even without those scholarships and shit.
So I
yeah.
didn't take the scholarships.
And did you not take them because you were more in love with guitar and other stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I didn't love, not to toot my own horn, but as good as I was, I didn't have that type of passion
Yeah.
or love for
No,
something
I totally understand that.
to
yeah.
do year round.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't my thing. And I'd gotten to a point playing guitar where I knew that I was at a certain level where like this could be more than a hobby.
Yeah.
Right? So let's pursue that.
Okay.
And by the end of my freshman year in college, I knew that I wanted a totally different outlet.
Yeah.
Like maybe this path was much more unclear
Yeah.
in terms of the answers you would get, but I knew that what was waiting for me, what was there in Kentucky, was something I didn't want.
Were you supported when you decided music might be the way I'm going? Like, were your parents like, yeah, Will, good idea. That will support your
it was
future.
like, it was oddly 50-50. So
Yeah.
I remember after I'd made the decision to move out to California,
yeah.
like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to work
Why
towards.
California, out of curiosity? Why not
Nashville
or Austin or New
Right.
York or whatever? Yeah.
So that was one of the first things my dad asked me.
Yeah.
Was why not do this in Nashville?
Right.
I think it was because of the fact that I grew up in a very conservative town.
So you just needed the
heart of
polar-
the Bible. But I wanted something where like this is the complete opposite
Yes.
end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I want that experience. Right? And so my dad, who was the guy who had bought me like my first guitar,
Yeah.
my first amp, he
Yeah.
had been very supportive of this. Was a little hard to talk into during this process. And my mom, someone who seemed, I don't know if she was for or against it, but I felt like it would be a harder sell to her.
Yeah.
She accepted it easier than my dad. And
Well, your dad's a career military man.
and so I think he took it as a slight, as like, you get your college paid for free.
Right.
You don't want to do this. You want to go play guitar.
Huh.
I was like, I understand why you feel that way.
Well, but you still went to college, didn't you?
Right. Yeah, I was in UK.
What the hell were you planning on studying?
Well, I was studying political science and history. Which I did very well, and I love it. Like,
It's not a
to this
surprise.
day, like
Yeah.
it's something where I do enjoy. But my mom had tried to talk me into actually doing music before I went to college, and I dismissed it because I was. It's like what can you do with this?
Huh.
You can't do anything with it.
Oh, your mom tried to talk you into studying music in college?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so looking back, it's like
That's about as useful as a political science degree.
right. There's nothing to it.
Yeah.
And so, so I did the political science history thing.
Yeah.
But then after a year of that, that's when I realized, like, no, you need to pursue this
So did
more
you just
than
like
a hobby.
Did you just drop out like just that's
Nope.
it?
Still went to college. I sold a lot of weed
Nice.
and other things, and I saved up money to
Making them ends meet.
where I was like, next year, by basically October of 2009, I'm out.
What does that put you at? Like a sophomore in
was a
college?
sophomore.
Okay.
I gotta piss
Again?
again.
Oh my God. All right. I'll sit here and just fucking talk into the microphone. Hopefully I'll remember where we were. It's gonna be real good. Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to hear me talk about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, where I'm gonna try and wrap this around to, and it doesn't always work out. In fact, it almost never works out very well because, well, you know, I get too fucked up and lose my train of thought. Anyway, we're gonna try to wrap this around to Will actually arriving in LA and then forming Karma Vulture, which is the band that I am actually interested in talking about. And I would apologize to you for making you wait this long to hear about Karma Vulture, except that I don't care and this is art and you can't tell me what to do. So now that we have that understanding between us, I think we can move forward in a much more constructive fashion. Okay? Okay. I figured it out. Don't worry about it. Okay, so
Sorry for the delay, folks. We are back. We are back.
you're being a bum and dropping out of school.
So I was still in school.
Okay.
And actually, so the first year I was in college, didn't do shit.
Okay.
That's a whole story in itself. I didn't do jack shit.
Yeah. And you didn't flunk out though?
But I was on academic probation.
Okay. You just
I was
maintained
actually-
just like they got their eyes on me, but
Yeah.
no, I'm
Yeah.
not done yet.
We had a house my freshman year in college. It was 4 dudes who had never lived.
Oh, you didn't have to live in the
before.
dorms or anything?
No.
What? It's madness. That was because you got it for free. Not
With the
house,
help of
but
other people, but
tuition and
like,
shit.
yeah. And so we demolished this place our first year.
Yeah, of course.
It was a brand new house that was built on the back end of this existing house. So a duplex.
Oh my.
Brand new. Like when I said like they built it that summer.
Yeah.
The dude was an
Pristine.
incredible dude. We demolished this place. The only reason we didn't get evicted was because of me.
Oh yeah.
A whole different story.
Nice.
Throughout the process of this year, that's when I realized like you should treat this as more than just a hobby,
Yeah.
right? Like you're going to school for A and B.
So you must have played like a maniac to realize that you were that good within like
did.
3 years of playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically,
Do you ever have people ask you like, how'd you get so good? And it's like, I'll tell you how. I sat in one place for a long time. And they're
That's-
like, well,
that's
I practice
exactly-
too. And it's like, what, an hour a day? Like, no, you don't understand. When I was picking this up, this was 8 hours a day. Like,
yeah. So
okay, so how do you get to LA? That's what I'm wrapping around to.
right. So to play guitar, man, I knew that when I started late.
Yeah.
You have to make up a lot of time
Right.
to catch up to people who've played since they were 5 or 6 or 9.
Yes.
Whatever. All right. So once I got a guitar, halfway through my junior year in high school, that's all I did.
Nice.
Like, once I got into college my freshman year, as much as I partied, the rest of the time was spent playing guitar.
It's interesting.
By the end of that year, that's when I had made it to a point, so you're talking 2.5 years of playing,
Yeah.
of like, hey, look, you're good enough at this in which this should be more than a hobby.
That's interesting. Yeah.
How can you pursue it? So in the course of 1 year, I saved up a bunch of money.
Yeah.
A lot of it was from selling marijuana to college students. Right? It is what it is. But so I got this, and then in October of 2009,
Yeah.
I moved out to California.
Nice.
I made it here. Enrolled into Musicians Institute, which is a total fucking ripoff.
Yeah, it seems like a ripoff.
The only positive I can say to it is the fact that there are a lot of friends that I have today that I met
you were in
through
there.
MI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Those people all seem to be a crew, and they're a crew who's a lot less annoying than the Berkeley crew.
Well, dude, and it's also
We studied at Berkeley.
it's a crew that like you don't really realize who did that until you go out and you play shows with these people.
Yeah.
And you realize like Sal from the Gitas went to MI.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they like came up in the Ukraine or whatever.
Maybe they did. Maybe Sasha, like,
Ukraine.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like, a dude like Sal went to MI. There are a lot of dudes
That's
who
funny.
are... Because, like, at MI, there are a lot of guys who you see and you're just like, you're going to get really good at your instrument.
Right.
And you'll go back home.
Yes. Yeah.
More power to you. Whatever. Like, it is what it is.
Strange though. If you're gonna invest the time and money on something like MI, like you might as well just jump in with both feet and be like, look, my life is a musician. Like
I've
who is
always
it?
been a band guy, dude.
Yeah.
I've always been a band guy. So
Yeah.
it's like, even if I know that I could take an opportunity to be a hired gun,
Right.
or no, at some point, cool, maybe that is justifiable. But the reason why I got into music and playing music was because of individuals who were band guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who believed in what they wanted to do, what they were doing.
Hey. She wants the attention.
Getting a little wild.
Or she's hungry. Okay, so
And, yeah, just like
get
the
me
idea
to LA from there. You just up
I
and
literally, in the course of 1 year, I sold a lot of weed.
yeah. Did you cancel like things with your school, or were you just like, yeah, I'm up and out?
I was in school.
You're still enrolled, and you're just
I was still enrolled because at the time to get into MI,
yeah.
I thought that. So I took more music classes my second year.
Right.
Had to take all the classes that, like as a political science major, you have to take. Right.
Oh yeah.
But I took all these extracurricular classes
Nice.
to prep myself for a music degree. Right.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So my second year in college, I did much better. I definitely I got myself off of academic
shit you're
probation.
interested in.
Yeah, yeah, and I sold a lot of weed, so the money was like, I've got like $9K. I can
Yeah, you're
fucking
good.
save up to move the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And I had a roommate who was down, so
Yeah.
we did that. We get out to California, dude, and it was a rough transition because the actual experience at MI is not that great.
Well, you're from where in Kentucky?
Middle of nowhere, heart of the Bible Belt,
Yeah.
Somerset, Kentucky.
Somerset.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
yeah. So it's a town that basically went wet, and for people who don't know what that means, it means that you can't buy or sell alcohol, right? So it's a dry county.
Dry County.
It's a
Yeah.
dry
Okay.
town.
Yeah.
And that just happened maybe in like 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a place like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people there believe that the world is 8,000 years old. They're Bible literalists.
So you get out here and you're just. Have you
Right.
been here before or no?
The only time I had been here before was when my roommate and I from Kentucky
Yeah.
came out to visit an open house for Musicians Institute. So we came out here for a few days. We decided we loved it. We're down.
Yeah.
And literally 7 months later, we moved out.
Nice.
That was it.
That's awesome.
So I come out the first year, I'm broke as fuck.
Yeah.
Like I'm enrolled in Musicians Institute. The thing is like everything they had promised me, they did not deliver. That was not a thing.
The school?
Like,
Musicians Institute?
the school.
Huh.
Yeah. So
What did they promise you?
So basically, what I was promised was that if my college currently was getting paid for it, if that was the case, then that would transfer to MI.
Yeah.
So if the VA is paying for a state college, they're gonna cover for paying for MI.
Interesting.
Cool. So I saved up a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? I had all this ready to go. And then by the end of the second quarter at MI, after certain like rumblings, things come up, you realize that like they're not going to cover the school. Everything they've told you is kind of bullshit
Oh, man.
because it's not accredited. The VA won't give you. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then it turns into a thing where like when it's $7,000 plus a quarter,
Yeah.
I can't pay that,
No.
right? So I have to drop out.
Bummer.
Yeah. So basically, what concludes the first year I was in LA was by far and away the most broke I've ever been in my life. And
Broke enough. What did you tell me before? You couldn't afford contacts or something?
I remember talking to my mom
Yeah.
and her. This was after so much had gone on. I told you earlier, I had woke up to somebody in my room
Oh, right. Yeah. They
breaking
broke
into
your
my
house.
apartment.
Yeah. It's madness.
I thought that I was going to get paid for being in school for 6 months.
Yeah.
That never happened. And so I get to a point in which, for those of you who don't know, I am incredibly blind.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have contacts, no glasses, no contacts. I have to go beg an optometrist to give me a trial pair.
Oh, man.
That's like I can't even afford to fucking see at this point. My mom's trying to get me to move back home, but I'm saying, look, the thing is barring me getting deathly ill
Yes.
or something absolutely next level fucking insanity happening, right? Like otherworldly, like it can't get any worse than this.
Yeah.
So I stuck it out.
Yeah.
And then within the next year, I came into 2 bands.
Nice.
I met my now wife.
Nice.
Who has been an incredible anchor through all of it.
Yeah.
But it was a fucking insane transition, dude.
Yeah.
I got lied to by the school. I went for 5 months not having any money. I had people in my apartment building feeding me to keep me alive.
Yeah. Right.
And you have your family being like, maybe this is a sign you should come back.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay, I'm not going to argue that, but maybe I should stick it out because if I can weather this, then like you're there.
On that note, do you ever find it hard to take seriously people who have never really? Because we've talked about this once or twice, like the transition to the city and doing it with like, look, I don't have the resources, but I'm going to try it. Like, let's see how this goes. Do you ever find it hard to take seriously people who either haven't done something like that or they've never really seen what the bottom looks like? You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
I do.
which is weird and I guess sort of unfair because maybe they're just better at this shit than we are. But like, to me, I'm just kind of like, man, unless you know what it looks like. And that actually gets to my question from earlier. Like, do musicians just like seek out misery or what the hell is the thing?
Maybe so.
You know?
And that, I guess to my rambling answer or rambling response to that earlier, it's like whether musicians actively seek that out or not, maybe that's something that because of the nature of what you're doing,
Right.
what you're creating,
Right.
how you're putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
maybe that ties in. Maybe it's something that's unavoidable.
Yeah.
And I think certain musicians are more strong-minded than others, right?
Yeah, of course.
So certain people who are in music may actually be able to acknowledge what's going on,
yeah.
what they're doing. Some cannot. I don't know if even that separation is enough to definitively answer that sort of question.
Yeah.
Like maybe it just comes back to the idea that people who choose this outlet either or are maybe more open to,
Maybe. Yeah. Risk.
to those types of feelings, right? Exposing themselves to those type of things.
Yeah.
All I know is this is for myself, I was at a point in which I knew I did not want this option
Yeah.
and this avenue.
Yeah.
That would be an easy avenue right in front of me.
Right.
I didn't want that. I wanted to go for something more. And moving out to LA, after doing that, the thought of going back after 1 year.
I know so many people who have done that too. And
It's the list is so much longer of people who have done it.
yeah, it's a shame.
Or
not.
My
It's just- it
my
is what it
roommate,
is.
my roommate was one of them.
Yeah, I have a good friend who did it.
Yeah. And so to me, the idea was like, music is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Music has saved my life.
Yeah.
In multiple occasions.
Okay,
and I
so-
can go back to when and so to me, the idea of being able to stick it out and be a band guy
Yeah.
and play music and make a song, make music that will speak to someone who is in an uncomfortable or a bad situation.
Right.
The same way in which music spoke to me.
Yeah.
If I can do that, that in itself is everything.
Yeah,
that's the whole that's the
big.
whole point of it, dude. Like,
So how did just shift gears a little bit? How did Karma Vulture come to be, and how did Panic and Eden, which is your first band out here,
Right.
how did that dissolve, and how did Karma Vulture come around? Because I remember, we were talking about this the other day, and I swear to God, with every single friend that I have out here, I'm like, how did we meet? And they're like, well, I think it was this. It's like something involving a show, maybe not, whatever. Like,
Right.
I don't remember. I don't remember how. I guess I met you at Lot 1.
I think the first time, that we actually like
Because you had met Josh before me, I think.
correct.
Yeah.
I remember very distinctly the first night I met Josh. Which
Was
was a
that
great
at
night.
the-
I mean,
at the
like,
Troubadour or
At
something?
the Troubadour
Yeah.
with our homies, the Knits. They're a great band. You should
Oh,
check
yeah.
them out if you're interested. So the Knits had been a group that had basically been our rehearsal studio.
Yeah.
Neighbors.
Yeah.
For years.
Right.
We've been in this place for 6 years.
Right.
They've been there for longer than Karma Vulture was established.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years. So it was a point in which I was in 2018.
Was it 2018?
No,
Did I
no.
meet you in 20? I feel like it was 2017. I hope it was
It was
2017.
2017.
Okay.
So
Like,
in
dude, if I've
20
only known you for a year,
No.
my
So
mind
it's-
is blown.
So it was in 2017.
Yeah.
It was after certain things had transpired. So Ann and I had separated at this point.
After
And it-
marrying?
What's up?
After marrying?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
yeah. Because of my doing. So it was the first night that we like agreed to get together
Right.
and have a drink and so we did that.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic evening. And I knew that the Knits were playing at the Troubadour, so I invited her up there with us.
Yeah.
She comes up and I meet Josh. Connor's there. We're all having a great time. We randomly stumble upon Mr. fucking Josh Loney.
Joshua.
And Josh and I quickly hit it off with Michigan State basketball and UK basketball. College basketball, some nerd shit for sure. But what happened within that conversation was Josh mentioned you guys' band.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And at this point, you know, I'm like drunk and I'm like, yeah, sure. All right, cool.
Whatever.
Right. So this is where the good shit happens, people. All right? Despite all the ramblings. Here we go. So the first show that I saw you guys was at the Bootleg. And this was without a doubt within weeks after I'd met Josh.
Yeah.
This was like you guys' next big show. The reason why Josh told me about this is because this is what you guys, I assume, were
Gearing
currently
up for, yeah. I think it was a single release or music video or something.
It was. So I saw you guys. I also saw Westerner there that night.
Yep.
It was a great show.
Yep.
So the bass player and vocalist in Karma Vulture, Connor, used to be the other guitar player and backup vocalist in Panic and Eden.
Yeah.
We've been playing music for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So he's my boy. Was my boy's brother from another mother, right? You know, it is what it is. And so in Panic and Eden, we had always been on the look for a scene,
Yeah.
right? People who were above and beyond themselves. They had the talent, they had the songs
Right.
to connect. Beyond that, it was above the whole fucking high school idea.
Yeah.
No pretension, no bullshit.
Yeah.
Just like we're gonna hit you over the fucking head with music,
Yeah, of course.
regardless of what style it is. So I see you guys at the Bootleg. I don't know. You can probably look that up, like when that was in 2017. It was after March.
I would look it up if I had my phone, but my phone is my
was-
camera.
It had to have been May or June of 2017, something like that.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
Anyway, I remember actually coming out to the show after meeting Josh.
Yeah.
I felt like we hit it off with Josh immediately. That
Yeah.
was cool, dude.
Yeah.
This guy's chill. You know, I see you guys, and I fucking loved it.
Nice.
I loved it. It was something in which, like, I didn't know you personally,
Yeah.
but I remember thinking, like, this whole scene, the people in the crowd, the band. I met Doza that night.
Oh, nice.
He had fucking long hair, right?
Yeah.
He's now the godfather to the West Side Revival.
Yeah,
even
right.
though he doesn't like to take it.
I've been telling him
Take-
since literally day one, like, dude, sorry, just accept that title.
Just owned it, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like-
You and like there are a few other people who
Yeah, of course.
helped,
Well, Josh, I think, is one of them. You know, I mean,
100%,
he's
dude.
big on the whole. You know, I helped with the first lineup and all that.
You guys in general, dude. The Absurd is a band that
Yeah.
not only did you guys seek out really good bands,
Fuck ass cat.
not only did you guys seek out good bands,
Yeah.
but you actively booked bands.
Yeah.
You it's one way you put your money where your mouth is.
Totally.
right?
Well, we were looking at a long con too, because I think in LA, it's like
Yep.
it's just a thing where, like, you know,
It's trendy, dude. and it's
you also
plastic.
got 10 different places to be on. I think this Halloween. Bear in mind, like, neither of us are famous or all that popular.
right.
I got like 8 different offers for where to go for Halloween, which is like,
100%, dude.
dude, it's ridiculous. Like, personal offers. Like, get out of here.
Long Beach, Pasadena, the West Side. We're playing in
Yeah,
Hollywood tonight. We're playing in so like it's too much, dude.
No, it's too much.
So
And,
much of it.
well, and that's why it's hard for people to really establish, you know, a nice, you know, footing here, because there's 1.5 million different things going on. So all we wanted to do was kind of put things under an umbrella, you know, like, and just kind of say, okay, this is like, because we came looking for the scene, and we
Right.
found a scene in East Hollywood, which is fine. And it's got more probably going for it in terms of like the press and blah blah blah. But I just don't care about the bands really.
Right.
I care about some of them.
There's a whole
that whole thing is just infected.
there's a whole weird sort of I don't know. We'll call it a disconnection. That's, I guess, the best way to look at
Between the East and the West, or between the East and the rest of the world, or
no, the East and the West, between East and the West side bands, because frankly, overall, right, like, quick side note, at my secondary band's gig,
yeah, that's Dirty
Dirty
Little
Little
Creatures.
yes, which is a great band. Come out and see it. Boogie Whips band. So we played with the band that we played at the Redwood on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Easy for me to say. They had no idea, apparently. It was something in which it became very apparent that they had no recollection
Of playing with you
of
at the
us.
Redwood.
Yeah.
Who was it? What band? You can get yourself into hot water if you want. I mean,
I
always
did
in
a
it.
T-shirt swap with this guy.
I steep myself in it. Oh, Dirty Cakes.
It was Dirty Cakes.
Nice, Dirty Cakes.
They rolled out before our set,
Okay.
and after the Redwood on Saturday, which Karma Vulture played with them, we did a T-shirt swap. They talked with Connor, and the whole nature of the conversation was one in which, like, you're filling me in on what you've done recently.
Right.
Meanwhile, 3 days ago, I was in a band that played with you there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've heard certain things about people getting snubbed by bands on the east side, bands from the west side.
Yeah.
So the initial point of the story was when I showed up on Halloween night to play this gig, someone approached me from Dirty Cakes in which they said let's see, how do you put this tactfully? So it became very apparent in which that they had no idea or no real retention
Yeah.
of what had happened for a few days before.
Oh, yeah.
And so he asked me, he was like he had heard about Karma Vulture, right?
Yeah.
Through whatever channel, I don't fucking know, right? But he heard about him. And so one of the first questions he asked me Thursday night was, wait, did you guys come up on the west side or the east side?
Huh.
And
I've never had anyone ask me that question.
same.
It's a weird
It's
question.
the first time.
Yeah.
You know what my response was to
Well,
that?
yeah, sure.
I looked at him, and we've known each other for a while. I don't sugarcoat things.
Right.
Okay? It can be a fault or maybe not for me.
Yeah.
But if I think you're shit, I'm not going to pull any punches.
Say it. So what'd you say?
So he asked me, he goes, so wait a minute. He stuttered and stammered for a second. Did you guys come up on the west side or the east side? And he was referring to Karma Vulture at the time.
Right.
All right? Specifically. So I said, well, if you put it in those terms, then we came up on the west side.
Huh.
Even though, logistically speaking, Connor's from the fucking valley.
Right.
Right now, you're in Culver City.
Yeah.
You're playing drums with us. We want this guy to play drums with us. As
happening.
long as I'm in West Hollywood. So,
Yeah.
that makes no sense logistically.
Neither.
Either way.
Yeah. Well, it's just where did your band come up, you know?
100%. And so I told him my ultimate answer.
Yeah.
After he was like, so you guys, did you guys come on the west side or the east side? I said, well, technically, if you're going to frame it in that light, we came up on the west side.
Right.
But honestly, myself nor anyone else, do we actively think about it in that light? Like that, like, and so after I responded to him with that, the idea of, I don't really look at it like that, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what that question's supposed to mean. I don't view it in that lens.
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean either.
His whole thing changed. Like, no, I don't either. Like, blah, 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 blah. I don't either. Like, I'm
Hey,
just
look,
curious.
if I got people who I don't know that well asking that question, though, I'm like, all right, there's some kind of thing that's happening that people want to talk about. Like, I'm fine with that, At the
Right.
same time, like, I don't know how to answer that, because I came up in Los Angeles.
It's a weird question. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm not from here.
West Side, bro.
It's so fucking weird. What I ended up telling him was like, because he sort of went into this tangent of like, how there's nothing going on the West Side, it's dead.
Right.
Yeah, I understand. That was sort of the point
Yeah.
of West Side Revival.
Yeah, I think
Was
so.
the idea of like 40 or 50 years ago, you have a lot of bands who are based out of this area.
Yeah.
And it's not about labels, not about success, just about music in general. It played a huge part in this culture,
Yeah.
in this neighborhood. Okay. Well, that's gone. Clearly, that's gone for a variety of reasons. We don't have to go into that now. But yeah, that's gone. At the same time, the idea is the same. It's
Yeah.
like there's a coming together of a lot of great fucking bands.
Yeah.
And it's through this West Side infrastructure.
It's fun.
It's fun.
I think that's the biggest.
great,
I think
dude.
that's the
Like-
capital point. Is just like it's fun, like it's a
It's
good
a reaction,
time.
dude. There's
Yeah,
always a
it is.
reaction to
Yeah,
an action.
yeah.
And it's a fucking
All
reaction.
right, so I gotta ask you. A last question. I think we'll do. If you're down, we'll do a dumb bonus content
Let's do it.
for the Patreon subscribers.
do it.
I don't have a Patreon. I'm kidding. Yeah, I've made that joke before, and now this joke seems even worse. Anyway, one final question before we sign off this motherfucker. You're stranded on a desert island, right?
Right.
And you can get 5 bands or artists to listen to for the rest of your life. You can't listen to anyone else.
Right.
And I understand that they'll probably change as you get older and blah, blah.
Derp, derp,
Anyway,
derp,
I don't
derp,
care. How do
yeah,
you answer
yeah.
it now? Like, who are your top? You don't have to rank them, by the way. It's not like number 1, then no, wait, maybe they're number. No.
Right.
It's just top 5 artists or bands who you would take with you.
Okay.
Bare Naked Ladies,
That's right.
of course.
Fleetwood Mac.
Classic.
No.
What's his
I
face?
actually,
That guitarist is a badass.
I actually do like Fleetwood Mac. Peter Green, Lindsey Buckingham.
Lindsey
is a great
Buckingham,
guitar-
that's what I'm thinking of, yeah.
Okay. No. Top 5 artists. This is really fucking tough, dude.
Yeah. They can be bands or solo people or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
So throughout my life, I've had stages of appreciation
Yeah.
for certain artists and certain music. When I first got into playing guitar, I was very much into Led Zeppelin and Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
it, right? That sort of bled into very straightforward rock and roll.
Yeah.
A lot of the brand metal bands.
Right. What, brand metal?
Brand metal bands. So you're talking like, it was a brief stage and when I was super into Metallica,
Oh, okay.
Avenged Sevenfold,
Okay.
like, and honestly, I'm learning to play guitars, so I feel like a lot of it is sort of you.
Well, the guitar is interesting in those bands.
Right. So you're developing your chops.
Yeah.
You get that going. So right now, this is a whole nother story, but
Top 5. Keep in mind, top 5. That's
Top
your
5.
objective.
so Soundgarden's definitely in there
I think so.
for a multitude of reasons. Chris Cornell's voice was the X factor, like his songwriting ability.
What's the guitarist? Kim Thiel?
Kim Thale.
Yeah, man.
So
That dude's wicked good.
So the thing with Kim Thale is, so for this aspect, it's not even a matter of like live performance
Yeah.
or studio performance.
You're right.
In my opinion, there are great live videos of Soundgarden, and there are certain videos in which you're just like,
Not good.
this is really bad.
That's most rock bands, though.
For whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
It's, it happens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different reasons you can chop up.
Okay, so you got Soundgarden.
So I got Soundgarden. To me, they were the first band in which I heard really heavy fucking music played in a way, even after I was into like Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
They fucking played it in a way in which I was like, yo, I have never heard a song like Slaves and Bulldozers before.
Yeah, it isn't just heavy.
Exactly.
It's actually music.
It's like, and that's probably like what got me into it. It's like, dude, this is really heavy music,
Yeah.
but with a little bit of a dose of extra,
Right.
like Looney Tunes on acid, in a way.
A little bit of cayenne pepper.
Yeah, like.
All right, so you got 4 more, motherfucker. You
We
got
got
one
Soundgarden.
is Soundgarden.
So
I always try to recount the things that people say, and then I fail. Anyway, Soundgarden.
Well, I know what Connor said, and I respect Connor. I love him, but
No, he had Hosier on his list, which I think he might want to come back on and correct.
maybe I'll want to come back on and correct this whole podcast. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe,
Maybe.
No, it's pretty good.
Okay.
Okay, so Soundgarden.
Soundgarden is a huge influence.
Okay.
The idea that you can make loud,
Not
heavy,
even influences. I'm talking about you personally, bands or artists that you would take to that desert island.
whatever.
And those are the only artists you can listen to for the rest of your life.
Soundgarden would definitely still be up there.
Soundgarden.
For sure.
All right.
Curveball, Igor Stravinsky. So
Stravinsky.
Stravinsky. So if
you're
you,
I think you're the first person to say a classical artist.
If you had a gun to my head and you asked me what was my favorite song or piece of music ever, my number one answer would be The Rite of Spring.
Rite of Spring's awesome, man.
It is so unbelievable on so many levels.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I've gotten a chance to see it live with the LA Philharmonic 3 times.
That's amazing.
Not with the ballet.
Really?
Because it's very rarely performed with the ballet.
Yeah, of course.
2 of those 3 times, I legitimately fucking wept within those performances. And I'm not even kidding, dude.
Nice. That's
I
awesome.
fucking cried. If you know the backstory and the actual story of the musical piece itself,
Yeah.
it adds a lot more brevity to the music itself, right?
Brevity?
Like, brevity in terms of like the ballet, what the story actually is.
Oh.
Which again, it's very rarely performed with
Right.
a ballet.
Right.
Anymore nowadays, you see it with a symphony, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's still great. But if you get the chance to see it with the ballet, and if you know the story beforehand, it adds such an incredible dynamic.
Be fun as fuck.
It's great, dude. Like, it's something where, like, the bias of the story, like, or the basis of the story with everything musically that has come since then,
Yeah.
when you put those 2 together and you think about it in that sense, you understand the weight that this piece of music had
Yeah.
on Western culture.
Yeah, I
as a
understand that.
whole.
Yeah.
The first time it's debuted in Paris, in France, there were riots to it.
It's pretty sweet.
because of the type of chords that Stravinsky
Yeah, right, because he's a nut.
invented and put in, and then to the story itself, which is not the most PC of story by any means, but it is something that is so timeless.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the ultimate idea is like man reaching for answers. People are constantly searching for answers.
Yeah.
Whether it's in your creator.
Don't you always kind of look for something timeless, though? Like, isn't something timeless what you're supposed to do? Whenever people produce things for the now, it's like, look, I get it, but
that's what separates the fucking the boys from the men.
From the men,
the
yeah.
women from the girls. Like the thing with creating a
we're
piece
supposed to
of
go
art-
after timelessness.
Picasso, dude. Picasso is like, okay, personally, when you read up on his personal life,
He's a nut.
yeah.
Most of my favorite artists happen to be nuts. Wait. Let me get you back around to top 5.
top 5. Okay.
Soundgarden, Stravinsky.
Soundgarden, Stravinsky, Frank Zappa. We'll put him in as 3.
Boom. Zappa loves Stravinsky, too,
Yep.
I think, yeah.
I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, Zappa is one of the people I would take to my desert island, so
Yep.
I'm way down with that.
It's such a wide variety of nonsense.
an insane
maybe you love
variety.
it, maybe you hate it. Either way, it
How
is
many
what
albums
it
did he
is.
even put out? Like 40 or 50? Or like that's nuts. And the dude died when he was like 42 or
Yep.
some shit.
There's the story of him taking Warner Brothers to court in the 70s.
What story is that? That's awesome.
So he takes. So after the Mothers, right? The Mothers of Invention.
Yeah.
Whatever transpires in that, Warner Brothers wants to sign him. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now this is also in the 70s, in which Zappa is.
Well, you don't have to be that quiet. I mean, that is pretty nimble, though.
What is uniformly required is like he decided to make as much of rock and roll albums as he could. Like that was his goal because he knew you can't make any money off of classical or chamber music, so you're gonna form a rock band,
Right.
All right. So he does that. So Warner Brothers signs him, I think, for a 4-album deal. He comes back to them
Warner Brothers is crazy.
in less than a year. And he has 4 albums.
8 albums.
And he says, okay, I'm out of my contract. And they look at him and they say, no, you're not.
Hey, you
He's like,
signed me for 4 albums.
You signed me. Exactly. Well, the thing is, we'll release 2 of these albums
Oh, my
if
God.
you're lucky. And so he eventually took them to court. He fought them. And he fucking won.
Of course he did, because he's amazing.
Yeah. And so he got the rights and the masters to all of that. So
I think I read about that once. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty ridiculous.
So that was a huge inspiration to me. The idea of like, dude, the DIY scene would not exist without
Do
him.
what you fucking want, man.
Right.
Yeah, and you should. As long
you
as
absolutely should.
I mean, you do need to be able to make a product that's like, listenable and enjoyable. But like, otherwise, do what you want, man. There are so many ways to sound. There's
Right.
there's no market. There's no mainstream sound anymore. Mainstream doesn't even mean anything.
No, that
like
it's
okay. So you got Soundgarden, you got Stravinsky, you got Zappa.
you got Zappa.
You got
I would
2
put
slots. son.
Radiohead up there as the 4th.
Radiohead is another one I would agree with you on.
Which there are a lot of people who, if they watch or listen to this, who knew me up until the age of like 19 or 20, who would be like,
hated them?
No fucking way.
Really?
I hated Radiohead.
Oh.
I didn't get them.
Most people don't.
But once I got them,
Can't go back.
I got them wholeheartedly.
Can't go back.
The last artist, that would be very tricky.
Good luck. Stravinsky,
Soundgarden,
Soundgarden, Zappa, and Radiohead. That's an awesome list. That might be one of my favorite lists.
There's so many contenders.
I know.
For the 5th spot.
Everybody always has trouble with the 5th spot. Lou just said, fuck it, I'm going to do 12 spots.
So I could do that, but I'm trying.
No,
I'm
don't
trying
do
to
that.
honestly
Oh
write
my
it down.
God.
I feel like right now it would be. It would be so random in comparison. There's a part of me that wants to go with Van Morrison. Van Morrison.
Van Morrison?
Van Morrison.
Van Morrison's awesome,
Yeah.
but I'm surprised that he would make your list.
It's. I don't know for the fifth one, if he would officially or not, but like. I do enjoy what he represented, what he brought to the table.
Yeah.
The songs that he wrote.
I mean, all right, Van Morrison, Zappa, Stravinsky, Soundgarden, and
I'm gonna take a leak and I'll come back to you. And
No, we gotta end it here anyway. We'll do some bonus content, but so you tell me if there's last words that you want to tell these fine folks.
If it's not Van Morrison after all of that. No. I take it back. So Van Morrison is a very close run-up. I would throw Iggy Pop in there.
Iggy Pop, there we
Iggy
go.
Pop.
Kind of figured he was coming up.
Queens, like, I love Queens quite a lot,
I'm surprised Queens didn't make it.
but I would throw Iggy Pop in there.
All right.
Yeah.
Sign off, man. Say some words. Just be like, yo, here's how I'm going to do it.
Thank you all for tuning in to this lovely.
Well, you still got to
Lovely
talk into the
series.
microphone, though. You know, it's otherwise.
Apparently, you are not going to hear me throughout this entire interview.
It'll be tough.
Thank you for tuning in. Come and check out Karma Vulture, November 3rd at Fuzz Days, November 14th at the Factory in downtown Los Angeles.
Might come out before the 14th. It'll probably definitely come out after the 3rd, seeing as how
If
the
not,
3rd
we
is
have
today.
we have multiple singles ready to go. Keep your ears to the ground for
I'll put one
new
of them in
music
here, too,
videos,
for the,
new songs
for the
to
smoke break.
pop up. You got it.
Boom. Karma Vulture. I'm going to link to all that bullshit. Okay, bye. Oh, my God.
Skirt.
Bonus content.
Fuck you.
Nice. We're going to fucking do it. And sometimes the bar eats you.
Well, I don't
Make
want to
sure-
be the bar that is eating myself right now.
No. Should we
is the thing.
should we imbibe? Imbibe means drink, but should we smoke this?
Let's do it.
This joint?
Let's do it.
Let's see.